Hey guys, it's Sewing with Amara, and in today's tutorial I'll be teaching you guys an easy way to draft and cut this fitted Ankara skirt parts to be joined as a gown. This tutorial will be coming in batches, so please click on your post notification and subscribe to my channel so you'll be among the first to know when the Princess That's bustier of this gown will be out. So let's dive right into it. So this is what we'll be using for this tutorial. I have my full body measurements, my drawing tools as you can see, and then I have this colorful material about 6 yards. This is so beautiful guys, and also I have this lining about 6 yards. I'm going to be drafting the pattern or drawing on the lining, and this is what I'll be using to cut out on the main fabric. Starting with the front part of this skirt, I have gone ahead to place my material on fold, and to know how many inches to put your material on fold, divide the biggest part of your lower body by 4. In most cases, this is the hip. Then add your stitching allowance an extra few inches so you don't run short of material. My hip is 48 inches divided by 4, and that's 12 plus 1.5 inch stitching allowance. And then I'll add extra 1.5 inch, and that's 15 inches. That way I don't run short on material. Place your vertical measurements with the top part serving as your waistline. My waist to hip is 9 inches. Mark your waist to your hip on both sides of your lining or your pattern paper and rule a straight line across. But I'll be marking out all my measurements before ruling this line. The next measurement is from the waist to the butt crack line, and mine is 15 inches. I'll also mark that on both sides of my lining. If you haven't seen my first video on a butt contour skirt, another way to get the butt crack line is from the knee line. If you are tall, you come up from the knee line by 8 inches, average is 7 inches, and for a shorter person you use 6 inches. I'll be putting the link in my description box. The last vertical measurement to be taken is the length of our lining, which should be about 2 to 2.5 inches shorter than the main fabric. Just minus 2 or 2.5 from the length you want to use from your skirt. Now let me explain. For example, if your long skirt length is 40 inches, just minus 2 inches from that to get your lining length. Let's not forget the knee line measurement, and my waist to knee is 23 inches. I'll just go ahead and mark that. Now you can go ahead and draw a straight line across all your marked vertical measurements. The hip line, the butt crack line, the knee line, and then the length. Now we have our hip line, butt crack line, knee line, and length. Next up is to place your round body measurements. My waist divided by 4 is 8 inches. I'll mark that there, plus 1.5 inch stitching allowance, and also mark that. Coming to the hip line, you divide your hip measurements by 4. Mine is 48 inches divided by 4, which is 12. But I'll be removing 1 inch and I'll be placing it on the back of my skirt. Stick with me to the end of this video to really understand this. So my front hip now is 11 inches if I minus the 1 inch. So I'll just mark that and add 1.5 inch stitching allowance. On the butt crack line, you can remove 0.5 to 1 inches from what you have on your hip line. So I'll be removing 0.5 inches from the 11 inches on my hip line. I'm going to have 10.5, and I'll mark that and also add my stitching allowance. Because this is a pencil skirt, go ahead and remove 1.5 to 2 inches from what you have on your hip line and place it on your knee line. I'll be removing 1.5 inches from what I have on my hip line, and I'm going to add my stitching allowance. Marking on your knee line, repeat the same measurement you have on your knee line on the length of the skirt. Now we'll be connecting our lines together. First is from the waist to the hip line. Now there's something I like to do. I like to come up and down my hip line by 1 inch. Now this is going to help to give you a good fitting. So I'm just going to mark 1 inch above my hip line and under my hip line. I'll connect my waist to my hip line. First of all, from my waist to the 1 inch above the hip line, then into the hip line like so. then to the 1 inch under the hip line. This is going to eliminate that perfect curve we would have had if I had joined it straight from the waist, and our curve isn't perfect. Then connect to the butt crack line, to the knee line, and all the way down. On the waistline, I'll be coming down by 0.5 inches, and this is going to help eliminate any bulge in front of our skirt. And I'm going to join that to the waistline with a curve, as you see me doing. Go ahead now and join your stitching allowance. Do not forget the 1 inch you come up and down by on your hip line, and just join all your stitching allowance together. Your front skirt is ready. Just go ahead and cut out your skirt along your stitching allowance line. Now I'll be using the lining to cut out the front of the main fabric, and I've gone ahead to put my fabric on fold, and I'm going to place the lining neatly on the fabric, pin it down in place, and cut it out. Now this is what we have, and as you can see, the main fabric is longer than the lining, about 3 to 4 inches, and this is how yours should be. Okay, I'll just fold that, and let's cut the back piece. For my back piece, I'll be adding 4 inches to what I used for my front measurements before cutting it out, because we'll have a zipper at the back. This is where the 1 inch removed from our hip line in our front pattern comes to play. On the center back, I'll be coming in by 3 inches for our zipper, and also where our 1 inch will be sitting. So go ahead and mark 3 inches on your center back all the way through and rule a straight line across. Done that, now place your vertical measurement just the way you did in front, from your waist to your hip, your waist to your butt crack line, your waist to your knee line, and all the way through to the length of the skirt. Mark that on both sides and rule a straight line across. Now go ahead and place your round body measurement, which will be starting from the 3 inches line. Waist divided by 4 inches, mine is 8, and I'm going to mark that and add my 1 inch for that, and also 1.5 inch for stitching allowance. Like we did for the front, on the hip line, divide your hip measurement by 4 and add your stitching allowance. On the knee line, remove 0.5 inch from what you have on your hip line, mark it and mark your stitching allowance. Then on the knee line, remove 1.5 to 2 inches from what you have on your hip line, mark it and mark your stitching allowance, and mark exactly the same thing you have on your knee line on your length. Now go ahead and join all your round measurements together. Don't forget to do the same thing you did at the front, coming down and up your hip line by 1 inches, and connect all the parts of your skirt together. Now you're going to mark your dart on your waistline, and to get your dart is your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. Mine is 8 divided by 2, which is 4. Now mark 0.5 inch on both sides of the dart point and come down by 5 to 6 inches. I'll be using 6. I'm just making sure that is straight, and I'm going to rule a straight line to the length of my dart. Connect the 0.5 inches you came out by to the dart length. Now this is the interesting part we have been waiting for. That 1 inch you took away from the front hip, this is where it comes to play. So I'll just be placing 1 inch on this side of the center back, and I'll be connecting this to my waistline. For a normal female bodice, the waist is not straight at the back, it's curved in. So from our 3 inches line on the center back, is either you come in by 0.75 to 1 inches. I'll be coming in by 0.75 and then connect it into our 1 inch line at the center back. Please feel free to ask questions in the comment section. If there's anything that is not really clear to you, connect that back into that line just like so. Now mark your stitching allowance starting from the 0.75 or 1 inches you came in by on your waistline, and mark it all the way through and connect it with a curve just like you see me doing. The back part is ready. Just go ahead and cut this out. From center back, I'll be cutting it along the blue lines. Just go ahead and cut yours along your allowance lines. Just like we did for the front, place your fabric on fold, place your lining on top properly, and cut this out neatly, and your back piece is ready, guys. Done cutting it out, and your back piece is ready. We have come to the end of this video, and my next video on princess that bustier to be joined to this skirt as a gown is coming out next. Please turn on your post notification. Thank you guys for watching. Do not forget to ask questions in the comment section if there's anything you don't understand. See you guys in